can't really remember the first film I ever saw. I can remember that I used to like watching James Bond movies because they came out regularly. Star Wars is somewhere there as one of the first films I remember. E.T., a lot of the sci-fi films influenced me in the early days. Yeah, I sort of knew from about standard 8, what's now grade 10, I knew I wanted to get into movies. I started playing around. I had friends that had an editing system and I started playing around with that. I've known that I wanted to get into movies for a long time, since about 1988. I think I got interested in movies because it was just such a brilliant way to tell a story. You can use sound, pictures, go where a book can go, and it was just I wanted to tell stories through movies. That's what happened. I wrote my first story when I was 8 on a typewriter. It was a very simple story about the rabbit that goes down to the river, and that was about the end of the story. And I liked writing. I've written for stage. I've written corporate, all kinds of writing, but it's about getting the words to tell the story so that somebody else sees what you see, somebody else experiences what you're experiencing in that story with those characters. Well, at the moment my favorite is Kalushi. We're still walking the journey and we'll see where that's going. It's exciting times for us. I've got a couple of other scripts that are in development. There's a Kung Fu story that I'd like to see on the screen, big screen, South African Kung Fu story. And there's also a vampire story, South African vampire story that I'm busy working with another writer. Those are sort of the children that I'm looking out for at the moment, but Kalushi is my favorite at this stage. We're trying to see where it's taking us. The reason is that Kalushi has always taken its own time. It's almost as if Solomon, or the story of Solomon, has demanded its own time frame and its own journey. And I met Manla in 2010, 2011, and that's when I started working with him on Kalushi. So for me, for Manla it's been an 8-year journey. For me it's been a 5-year, or 5 of those 8 years. I've walked with Manla and also with Solomon in that process, and it is going through that journey. It's finding a voice for the story, finding a voice for Solomon, but also knowing that it's not a documentary. We're not trying to stick to the facts alone. We're trying to portray what it must have been like to be a young man in South Africa at that time.